Hey guys, this is Jon
and Austin,
and another episode of the Meatgistics podcast. It is good to be back in the studio. I've been out of the office all week last week. They did a podcast without me and then failed miserably at a live stream without me.
Hey.
Didn't sound like it went too well.
Well, some of that was not our fault.
Well, it's somebody's fault here. Just wasn't yours.
I thought it went great. What happened?
The giveaways?
Yeah, they worked great. What happened?
They didn't work well at all.
I
Shows how
heard
much
about this.
attention that he's paying to what's going on
what is that?
during the live stream.
We
They weren't here to accept them.
Yeah, because they were entering the wrong giveaway.
Oh, I didn't hear that
Yeah,
part.
No, they were entering the right giveaway, but the live stream giveaway was posted on the live stream page and the generic monthly giveaway page.
Oh, so it was backwards.
So we had,
Gotcha.
I mean, almost everybody I was drawing was just random people that had entered the giveaway that wasn't actually watching the live stream. So that's why I couldn't get hardly anybody to claim prizes.
That makes sense to me on why the second traffic on /win was so big. Because people hadn't actually entered and they thought they did. So they get an email and it says live stream. That's not the one I wanted. And they go back the next day. Because traffic on the second was like double what it would normally be.
Yeah, interesting.
So, okay. All right. So we got a few things to talk about. We'll talk about where I was, what I was doing, blah, 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 blah. Somebody wanted us to talk about how I came to work at Walton's. So we'll get to that too. But we've got 3 samples in front of us. These are seasonings that Excalibur sent to us, not ones that we currently stock. So I made some up and we will test them and see if there's one that may then become a stocked item. The first one is cherry chipotle flavored sausage. So this is a fresh sausage.
An overcooked and wrinkled sausage. You butchered it, John.
You were supposed to be watching it. All right. So cherry chipotle, it's got no seasoning. No cheese. Ooh. I like that a lot more than I thought I was going to.
The flavor just kind of sits there and changes and develops and just kind of moves around. The aftertaste then even has a different kind of taste to
instantly, as soon as you bite into it, it's got a pop.
Uh-huh.
I'm surprised by that. I did not think I was going to like this one, to be honest.
It's not overly sweet either, because as much as I love like sweet things, and it can be good in sausage, when it's too sweet, it feels like you can only eat so much of it. You want a couple bites and then you're done.
Even habanero mango sausage, I eventually got sick of. Because it's just, you can only eat that for lunch so many days in a row. That
is very good.
This is a very good sausage. And I'm not even a big fan of like cherry flavored things. I like cherries, but I usually don't like something that's cherry flavored.
The cherry's not overpowering though.
It's barely there.
It's just a nice hint of it. Yep.
All right.
I did a good job of just melding all those flavors together.
So that's delicious.
Yeah.
I would argue that we should stock that.
To be honest, I think it's all going to come down to price.
Fair point. And we don't know any of that at this point. Okay. Next one I was excited about because Kurt, one of our commercial salesmen and second longest tenured employee after HR, Steph, said that they tried this at AMP and absolutely loved it. We tried something similar to it a couple months ago, or years ago at this point. I wasn't that impressed.
Is this the snack stick that's in the walk-in cooler?
Yes.
I saw pieces in there and there was nothing on it. And I'm like, well, I'm going to eat some. So I ate some a little bit ago. It's
got a lot of onion to it.
I don't know. I have a hard time, for whatever reason, the flavor profile on this, I don't pick it up very well. It tastes kind of bland to me.
Yeah. So your initial taste, in my opinion, initial bite, not a ton going on, but as you chew it, that onion comes in, the hops, and there's barley in there, those come in. So I really like it. Extremely mild. I would say this would be the most mild of all the snack sticks. If we carried this would be our mildest snack stick. I can't think of any. Maybe nacho cheese would be the only one that'd be like as mild. Austin is eating the seasoning straight. Didn't your doctor tell you had to cut down on salt?
No. So blood pressure issues. First doctor said you eat way too much salt. And I was like, well, isn't it? You think it's because I'm like fat and overweight? And he's like, nah, you're not that much overweight. Change doctors, new doctor. He's like, salt. He's like, maybe it's 5 points on your blood pressure. He's like, you're fat. You need to lose weight. I'm like, thank you. So I'm on board with that one.
Same one I go to. Yeah. So Austin and I now have the same doctor. I went to the doctor the first time in 25 years.
I'd rather be told to lose weight than stop eating salt.
Of course you would.
So
now, however, hold on. Let's point out that you've lost 10, 15 pounds in the last month.
2 months.
2 months? 2 months, yeah. Mostly from cutting down your salt.
No, so I stopped taking the one med that was kind of like a diuretic and something else. It was actually two things, and so it was like I was shedding water. Off that on something else, been eating normal again, and I didn't pick up a lot of water weight, maybe like a pound or two. So I think I legitly lost weight.
So
it wasn't just like
you started taking medication and then lost 15 pounds?
I don't know. I know that I was like around 220 and that's where I had kind of been. And I stepped on the scale one day and I was like 203 and I'm like, what? And
I had been telling you before you stepped on the scale though, that you had lost weight because I wasn't terribly happy about it.
Yeah. But now I'm at like 205, 206. So I went from 203 to 206.
Okay.
I maybe a few pounds of water weight, but still I lost 15 pounds of actual weight.
Good. So. Good for you. All right. So you are not that impressed by that one.
No, I mean, so I wouldn't say it's bad and I wouldn't naysay on it too much. It's mild. If someone wants a mild snack stick, it'd be good. I just personally, I like strong, heavy flavors.
I've already ordered 10 cases of it. So.
Great. So
not really.
It's a good stick. The flavor's okay. It's just light. And I want something that attacks your taste buds.
Yeah. No, I like that because it's subtle. All right. This last one is Chipotle habanero flavored smoked sausage or jerky. I don't like it when they do jerky or smoked sausage. Do snack sticks. Or summer sauce or regular sausage.
Oh, if it's good for a sausage, it'd be fine snack sticks.
All right, so it's sugar, number one ingredient, spices, including chipotle pepper, habanero pepper, salt, dehydrated garlic, bell peppers, yeast, onion powder, egg yolk, solids, and then some other things. It's got some heat.
And it's a chewing episode, huh?
Yeah, there you go. It's definitely got some back of the tongue heat.
Yeah. That's not as strong as I thought it would be.
No, I'm not terribly impressed by it. There are other, if you want hot, like a hotter smoked sausage, there are other better things to go with.
I'd say the flavor is mild and there's just a heat that builds.
Yeah. I don't pick up a Chipotle really anything.
Normally with spicy, I expect it to be super flavorful and spicy. This one's like a mild spicy.
Okay.
But
it's
not bad, but I'd still like out of the three of these, I'm on board with the cherry Chipotle.
I'm shocked by that because after trying the beer, and then I had a few bites of this one, the Chipotle habanero, I was sure that was going to be the one we liked the best from this, but I agree with you. I like this cherry Chipotle better than any of the others. I could eat a lot of that too.
So we'll have to see. We got a bunch of crazy new flavors. We had a couple others at Party on the Patio.
Gorgonzola.
A few Fridays ago.
And
Zesty Gorgonzola apricot. That was very
So we're
good.
getting that in?
I don't know. I haven't looked at pricing.
Pricing on that, I bet you that's a $30 a bag.
Even if it is, I'd be willing to add like a couple that are like that, but I can't add like 10 things that are all super high end. But that one's good enough. I mean, I don't.
And then the other one was bruschetta.
The bruschetta was good.
Something. It was good, but as soon as I saw the name, I'm like, you're never going to get bruschetta across in a sausage. Like it's bread, it's fresh mozzarella, basil maybe, and some tomato. And it's just not possible to get that to come out in a sausage.
Yeah.
So, But yeah, no, I like that cherry chipotle a lot.
But since we're coming up on Bratfest, I'm kind of excited now for what we'll do next year for Bratfest with some of the new flavors that Excalibur's come out with, and what we've done. We have for Bratfest like 11 different things we're gonna have.
Patrick, come try some of this.
And we've got like the staples, like blue ribbon. One of the what I'd say is a new staple, at least to me, jalapeno popper. That one is just absolutely killer. We got supreme pizza, and let me see what else we got. Philly, we got habanero with ghost pepper cheese, and then we start getting into some new ones that we haven't done. I don't know if we did jalapeno popper at Bratfest last year.
I don't know that we
had it. Yeah. So 4 of those traditional staples that we've done before. Jalapeno popper, I think, new. And then all the others are new for Bratfest. We got apple, Parmesan garlic, Reuben, cheeseburger cheddar wurst, hot dogs. I guess hot dogs we repeated. We did those last year, but nonetheless. And then probably, that's weird, the craziest one. Excuse me. Eating all the sausage is making me burp. The craziest one that we have that you just made today.
Yeah, they didn't trust themselves to make it. It's too difficult of a sausage for Austin to make, so they had to call in the big guns.
Everything else we've done has been like, the best way to describe it, like
simple,
big batch commercial production. And this one is an artisan sausage.
It is an artisan sausage. Thank you for calling me an artisan. I like that.
You're welcome.
So it's the Jambalaya brat. We made 50 pounds of it today. We filmed everything, so we're going to make its own video on that. We did 6.5 basically pounds of fully cooked ham. And then we split the rest of it between rice, which I took 1 pound of rice. I did more because we did a big batch, but it was 1 pound of rice to 2 pounds of chicken stock. Then I bought some uncooked shrimp. I bought, that's in the, we got to pause this. I got to go roll that into the cooler.
Is it still in the smokehouse?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pause? What do you mean? You mean filibuster while John's gone?
Filibuster, go for it. It'll take me a minute.
I got a take on that cherry chipotle. Yeah, you better
Sure,
now.
yeah.
You interrupted our podcast for it. So that cherry chipotle though, it's like when you're at a barbecue and like you get a bite where like kind of everything touches a little bit, where like a little bit of the baked beans, a little bit of the potatoes, a little bit of the chip, a little bit of the hot dog. You're just like, it's good. It's a good bite. Where you're like, where'd that sweet? Oh, it got a little touch of frosting from the cake I have on there. Like that's kind of what I experienced. Good, but a little. You're like, it is overall sweet in an odd way, but I don't know. It hits. My thing is like a lot of these flavors we've tried over the years that we don't bring in. It's either like one of two things. It tastes too much like a regular sausage. You're just like, oh, that's like a good original. That's a good base. But we already have things in place for that, a la like blue ribbon or something. Or it's like, who would buy that? That sounds terrible. Or those flavors just would never go like, and we're kind of gagging by the time we even sniff the seasoning, let alone cook it. So at least for me, one of two categories.
Yeah. I wouldn't have thought of that description, but that description is perfect. Like a little bit of everything on your plate touched, and you got to bite. It's good. It's my explanation would be like you go to Quick Trip as a kid and you and this one wouldn't taste good compared to taking a bite off a plate, but you get your cup and you just get a little bit of every soda. You do a suicide.
For what are we talking about?
So and Patrick's explanation on the cherry chipotle was like you're eating I don't know, barbecue.
You at a barbecue, someone's house, right? You got a plate and you pile it up with like potato salad, baked beans, sausage, a little bit of this, and you're just like everything kind of touched on a bite of sausage.
And you're saying that for the cherry chipotle?
Yeah, I'm saying that for cherry chipotle. And you're just
that's got a bunch going on. That's not a bad.
It's not
that's
the
really
worst
not
way
bad.
of putting it. I meant it as like.
It's weird also because that would probably work for this jambalaya. So like I said,
crack that open.
6.5 pounds of fully cooked ham, ground up. Long grain rice cooked in chicken stock. Then we split the rest between pork, chicken thighs, and seafood, which we used shrimp for.
If you do chicken thighs, do you do boneless or do you do bone in?
Boneless.
Boneless? Okay.
I don't want to bone out all those. Now, we did have to cook it up to 165 because it had chicken in it. So, see how.
Oklahoma.
Oh, salmonella
No, there is
that
still
we're feeding to the public.
look at Appendix A, and you can still have a time temp table.
Yeah, but
off
you
of
have to
chicken and
calculate the
turkey.
fat in for that one.
That's not hard.
It's not easy. I mean, that's a really good sausage.
I now regret not having you made like 100 pounds, so we had extra of this. That is amazing.
That is really, really good.
Oh, then it's heat on the back end a little bit.
Just like a black pepper heat or
my
something.
gosh.
That is excellent.
That flavor is just, oh my goodness. Can we?
Is that
can
my
we-
favorite sausage?
It's gonna. So I would say this is going to turn out to be a thing like habanero mango, where
I'm just
you were so in on habanero mango for such a long time, and now you ate so much of it that you're like, yeah, I want other stuff. It's still good. This one, I think, if you go in on it, it'll be your number one for a while, and then you're gonna get burnt out. But that's why we have like 35 different brat flavors to try.
That is absolutely delicious.
Yeah.
Wow.
So-
Everything comes through in that.
If I were you and you're coming to Bratfest, I would find the sample line for the Jambalaya and make sure you're in that one
John-
first.
Jambalaya. That's what I heard.
knew it. As soon as
Jambalaya.
he said it, his eyes lit up. He goes, "Oh my god, what I'm calling?"
That's my name. That's my name. So yeah, get here early to make sure because we only made 50 pounds of that one.
So Bratfest starts next Saturday, August 19th at 11 a.m. here at Walton's, 3639 North Comatera Street. $15 to get in. That $15, 100% of it is donated straight to the Kansas Special Olympics program and the Air Capital Flyers team. So every bit of money that we raise off of it goes straight to them. We don't cover any of our costs. We pay for all the costs associated with it, and then every dollar that you guys bring goes straight to the Air Capital Flyers. So it's a big fundraiser for them.
And Austin, myself, Brett, a bunch of other people will be in the dunk tank. And if you get all three of your shots with the dunk tank, you'll get your choice between a hat and a shirt. Shirts this year are like an orange color. They're real nice material.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very comfortable to wear. And then the hats are like the trucker style, more flat brimmed. You can, whatever if you want, but kind of like that foam. Very loud, very cool for like an event. It's right there, actually. I could just point to that.
Yeah.
So that would work.
So we're still waiting for an official dunk tank schedule, but I'm pretty sure JJ from KFDI is supposed to be here I think that's who it is, supposed to be here. He's going to be on it. I think we had another public figure of sorts. And then, you, me, Brett, Kurt, probably.
Can I make
we'll
fun of the
see.
person throwing? Can I be that guy? Can I?
Sure.
Microphone. Oh, sweet. He said yes.
Wichita by AB is not doing it, is he?
I don't know. He put a post out there that was basically asking all his followers, should I?
Oh, yeah.
And so I don't know. I would assume that people were going to vote yes on that.
Right.
But we'll see. We'll have to talk with Josh and see what he decided to do.
Seems like a super nice guy.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, I guess people would probably consider you a nice guy too. And
I'm really not.
they're going to sink you.
So there's going to be there's going to be 3 different lines, but also a fourth option. You got a $5 line, $20 line, and a $50 line. $50 line, you're going to be able to it'll be like 2 feet between you, and you're going to be able to hit it with the ball, no problem. $20, you'll be a bit away, but it's doable. $5, you're going to be back there. You're going to have some good aim to hit it. Or there's going to be the $100 option, which just allows you to walk up there and just dunk whoever. We did not plan on that last year, but then I don't remember who was the first person to do it, but I was like, whatever, I'm dunking you. I walked up and just hit it on you, and you were like, you had to do $100. I'm like, okay.
Your mom did that to me too.
My mom did it. So there was multiple of us that ended up getting suckered into that. So
okay. Anything else Bratfest wise?
Nope.
Okay.
If you need any more information, just go to waltons.com/Bratfest. Hope to see you guys next Saturday.
If you buy the $100, you'll get a hat or whatever right away.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe the $50 too.
That's
We'll
guaranteed.
see. Okay. Couple of new products want to talk about real quick. First, the Walton's Barbecue Mister is in stock finally. So this has a great amount of pressure you can build up. Basically with like, I think we did 25 pumps or something. You can just let it go and it'll go for most of the tank. It is good for misting ribs, pork butts, anything like that. But also may have a commercial / large processing area application in that you can fill this up with sanitizer and just spray down everything. It's got a little lock on the thumb. So once you get the pressure built up in there, you press that down and it'll just continue to spray. So very handy. I think we're going to sell them for like $16.99. There's 2 liters it'll hold in here. So, and then adjustable nozzles. So you can go from a stream to more of a spray.
Very cool.
Do you want to talk about the other item?
Oh, yes. I'm so excited.
Show it.
So,
because that's...
I wish we had like some music to play. But this was originally an idea from Process Head, I believe.
Yep.
So Process Head, if you're listening, you'll get one of these. We will send one to you for free for giving us this idea. But it is a thermometer. It is a thermometer that in my research, I could not find one anywhere. Could not find one like this. And we talked with our manufacturer and they're like, ooh, we don't know. That's going to be expensive to do. And we're like, well, okay, tell us what it is. And we're like, no, that's fine. Let's do it. So, hey, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see. If not, I'll describe this to you. This is a 12-inch long probe. Not overall thermometer length. No, the overall length is like 16 inches. It's a 12-inch probe. So the idea behind this is that you can be taking temps on your grill or barbecue and be totally away from the fire source.
Also, if you want to temp specific areas of your brine, if you think it might be colder in one area, put it down in there, no problem. Obviously, with the old one, we would say, get to the center of your ham, whatever. There is no cut of meat that this will not reach the center of. In fact, most of it, it'll go right through it.
Yeah, you could.
Do you want to know the temperature on the other side of your meat? We have the thermometer for you.
Yeah, you've got 3 hams together. You want to temp them all?
Go for it. And we tested it against our current one, and it might be like a half a second slower because it's got to transmit all the way up there. But yeah, within 3.5 seconds, it is at the temperature.
Yeah, so that was the biggest concern was can we make it reliably transmit and fast, like from the tip all the way up there. But the guts of this thing is basically identical to our original Walton's thermometer. So if you have one of our other Walton's thermometers, this is the same. It's just longer. So the speed, I was actually surprised. When I tested it a couple times, it was, right just about 3 seconds. I was like, that's great. You can get thermometers that'll do it in like a second, but you're going to pay $100 for them.
They're very expensive.
This one, don't hold me to it, but I think it's probably going to retail at $19.99. So not a bad deal.
No, then I mean, it just looks a little ridiculous. Like when I saw it at first, Flip showed it to me, and I just started laughing immediately because it is an insanely long probe.
Yeah.
But my initial thought was, oh, you can get it. You know, how deep can you get it into whatever meat? But no, not having to stick your hand into the smoker is actually a pretty handy idea.
To me, like, I care less about my hand than I do my eyes. My eyes, like, I open up my grill lid and I'm trying to get a thermometer in there, and like all of a sudden the smoke starts rolling and then my eyes burn. Yeah. So I'm hoping that this keeps me from getting that eye burn. I can stand back and like see it, and I'm not hovering over the grill with my eyes right in the middle of the smoke coming out of it.
Okay.
So
yeah. All right, so we've got those. I was out of the office last week. I was on a trip with Ron Shera Productions. They're who we advertise on television with. They go every year to this retreat up on Lake of the Woods at it's this Totem Lodge. The specific one we went to was Wiley Point. So they've asked us to come for a few years. Austin and I said yes last year, and then we found out that you needed a vaccine to get into Canada, so we backed out, as did a bunch of them. That dropped this year, and Austin and I were all gung-ho. We were going to go. So we told them yes. Something happened with Austin, couldn't go. And so they were kind of trying to figure out what they wanted to do with that extra spot. And Lukey doesn't come to it. Like, has been invited in the past. I'm like, no, I have 2 spots. They're like, yeah. I'm like, all right, I'm taking Mark. Like, that's who I want to bring.
Sweet.
So he and I roomed together. Mark Lukey's our salesman up there, and he and I get along famously. Food was amazing. Like, I had no idea what to expect. It's a fishing camp in some remote area of, like, we had to take a boat ride 45 minutes from the dock to get to the place we were staying. It's on,
What?
yeah, it's like a peninsula, but it's really an island. There are no roads that get to where we stayed. Everything is by boat.
Oh,
So
interesting.
I didn't know, like, I figured it wasn't going to be dirt floor. That was like basically as long as it's not dirt floor, even if it was, I wouldn't have cared. But no, it was like really nice. The food was top level. They even cooked a steak that I liked. Now, they put like a lobster cream sauce over top of it. I felt like that was not necessary. But like the first night we were there, they had, like a buffet. I walk up and I'm seeing a buffet. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, this is the type of stuff we're eating. No. That buffet was like scallops and whatever. And you brought it to them and they made your seafood pasta right there, and whatever sauce you wanted. The next night, I can't remember off the top of my head what it was, but that was incredible. Like, it was just good meal. And then we did shore lunches with some of the walleye that we caught. So shore lunches, all the boats pull into an island or wherever on the shore. And basically, generally, you just deep fry some of your walleye, right? Mm-hmm. That's how you would do it. First thing we get when we get off our boat is a small plastic, so not all that, but glass of champagne. And then they had...
Wait, did they made the shore lunch for you?
Oh, they did. We cleaned them, and I say we very loosely there because I didn't clean any, but we cleaned them, and then they breaded them. They deep fried. Like, they brought out a bunch of stuff to this island, like drinks. They had a charcuterie board with prosciutto, salami. Like, it was not. Goodness. It was very bougie, but it was an amazing time. So first day, we fish with the one guide who is there, and his name's Harry. He's been there.
Did you take a fishing pole?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So fish with this guide, Harry. He's the only guide from there. Everyone else brought boats, but we had one group too many for that. So by the end, I wasn't even catching fish. He and I were just fixing all of Canada and America's problems. And great guy. The next day, I said that story to who was fishing with him that day, and they laughed. They said, that's exactly what he said about you. It's like, yes, I found a kindred spirit. So then the second day, it's walleye fishing. Walleye fishing is not my thing because it's just lift the pole, drop the pole, lift the pole. And I get bored. And I'm sure I missed tons of strikes because they're just like talking or doing something else as I'm doing this. So the next day, we're going to go to this different part of the lake. And in this part of the lake, nothing's mapped out because it's owned by the tribes. So they won't allow like anyone to map out what's underneath. We pull up to this rock island. And I catch 3 smallmouth bass in 5 casts. And as I'm doing that, like, I see this storm coming in. Like, I see this front coming in. And I just figure we're going to tough it out, whatever. But no, lightning strikes start. So our guide's like, nah, we got to go to land. So we all put our rain gear on and go to land. And it is pouring. I mean, absolutely coming down. And I'm laughing my butt off because I like when groups of people, of which I'm one of, are in a miserable situation. Because to me, that's the fun that you're going to like remember in the future. Yeah. Like, I caught some nice fish, but when I think of this trip, I'll think of a couple of things. But one of the first things I think about will be that specific time. So anyways, go back out and the wind kicks up. So we're like, all right, we're going to get off this and go back to the main lake and we're going to go muskie fishing the rest of the day, which is what I wanted to do. Travis, Frank, and I were up at, we were on the water before 6 every morning trying to catch a muskie. So we did that the rest of the day. It was me, Mark Lukey, this guy Whitey, who is the director of player personnel for the Minnesota Wild, their hockey team. Super interesting, like very amusing person. Anyways, I don't think I've laughed that hard. You even said my voice when I came back. I mean, I was laughing literally nonstop that entire day. We never caught a muskie. We caught one fish after that because we were only going for muskies. Like, we just happened to catch something else. I would still put it in my top 5 fishing days of all time.
That's crazy.
It was just so much fun. I was laughing so hard. We were throwing, and you get, every once in a while we'd get a muskie to come and follow, but couldn't make them bite. Anyways, so then the next day I got to fish with Ron Shara, like actual Ron Shara. And the morning I wasn't feeling so good. I think I caught maybe like a little bit of a flu that was only lasted a couple hours. But so once I started feeling better, I just wanted to draw as many stories out of him as I could. So I was asking him all these questions, and I knew we were in for a good story when we'd be flying somewhere and he would just shut off the boat and then like do a little quarter turn to me and Mark and tell like just awesome stories. Because Travis brought it up. He said Ron Shara is the most famous outdoorsman in all of Minnesota. Like everybody knows his voice, knows who he is. So I thought that was really cool. So that's it. Last day. Leave the dock at 7 a.m., pull into my house at 2 a.m. So 19 hours on the road to get back here.
Yeah, that's a fun trip.
And then stupidly, I tried to come into work for a couple hours, but I just gave up.
Yeah. So Tex was commenting. He's like, did Jon said he was going to be in for like half a day still. And I'm like, yeah, that's a funny joke. He was here for like 2 hours. Yeah. he didn't make it.
I think it was probably 2.5.
I do believe I told you too. I was like, it's up to you. You do what you want, but I'd get some rest.
Yep.
But
that was the right call. Because I couldn't even get anything done. People were just coming in and bothering me.
Mm-hmm. It's almost, to an extent, it's almost kind of good to do that because then you get everybody does come and like, oh, I need this. Uh-huh. And then you're like, okay, goodbye.
Right. So then I don't have to deal with that Monday.
Yeah.
And then I came in on Sunday and got distracted by something else. So anyways, all right. Somebody asked yesterday on Meatgistics about how I ended up with Walton's. So we'll just tell this story real quick. We moved down to Kansas from Rochester, New York. My wife and I, neither one of us liked our jobs. We were just kind of done with New York all around. She's a chemical engineer. So she came home. She'd been working with a headhunter and she asked me, what do you think about Wichita? My response was, I don't think about Wichita. I've never thought about Wichita. But I'd lived in, outside of Dallas a little bit. So not the exact same, but like somewhat similar. And I knew I'd be happy. So she came down for a visit, came back and she's like, yeah, I think I can do it. So I was like, all right, let's go. Sold the house, packed up, moved up down here, just got an apartment, and I just started looking for jobs. I started applying for jobs. I had an interview for a company that was making pizza ovens and this. So both things that were kind of food, like around food, and I would have been interested in either one of them. But I do remember leaving my interview with two people who are no longer here.
Like two people?
Yeah, it was Ashley and Andy.
Oh,
they both interviewed me. And Andy always made comments after that because I arrived at the interview in a suit because that's how I've been raised. You go to an interview, you wear a suit. But I guess that's not really true anymore. Anyways, but I remember calling my wife and being like, yeah, because we didn't discuss pay or anything like that. But I was like, yeah, this is where I want to be. Like I got such a good feeling from this place. And like, I want to work here. I'm like, I don't care really what the offer is. I just want my foot in the door. So then I worked customer service for like 2.5 years, something like that, which I loved. I mean, I formed great relationships with a lot of commercial customers. I kind of became the guy that the other customer service agents would give the phone to when somebody had a meat processing question. I liked being able to, like, I had the ability, if a customer called in with a product question, I could say, hold on and walk back to the warehouse and look at the product. So like I knew we were looking at the same thing. So whatever, really like that. But I wanted more different challenges. And Dylan did not, or I did not want to do traveling. And at that time, the salesmen traveled a lot more than they do now. Mm-hmm. So Austin walked in or called me into the office one day and we were friendly, but we didn't do a lot together. I think we'd gone running a time or two, maybe gone out to a bar or something, and offered me the chance to help making YouTube videos. And I've said it before, I thought he was crazy. I never thought this would turn into a full-time gig. But here we are 7 years later, 7 years later, something like that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And we now have a full media department with a bunch of people. So
Were you doing stuff with me before or after we started Meatgistics?
no, you started Meatgistics before I did.
Before you did? Okay.
Before you hired me into this role.
Okay. So yeah, because Meatgistics, I think I started Meatgistics in kind of 2016, kind of 2017, somewhere around there.
Yeah. So
I think you
Right
started
after that.
right after that.
that was another thing. When I took the job, I was doing, videos, but also responding to every post that was on Meatgistics. There was not a post that came through. And Austin also told me, he's like, there'll be a point where you're not able to do that anymore. Like where you won't be able to respond to every post. I was like, you're crazy. Like there's no way. And then a few other things. And I try not to question Austin anymore. Like when he looks down the road and says, this is what it's going to be. I'm like, okay.
Respect my authority.
It's respect. It's not the authority that I respect though. It's the ability to have that foresight, because foresight is not one of my strong suits. I'm okay at dealing with like what's right around me. But as soon as we get past a little bit, my brain's like, nah, there's too many variables. You'll never figure out what it is. So I just kind of go with like, okay, we'll deal with it when it comes up.
Yeah, you're a lot better than I am about dealing with like what's here, what's now, like making the jambalaya today. What's the project at hand? I'm not as good at that. I'm much better at like what are we doing 2 months from now?
Right.
What are we doing 2 years from now? So it works. We work out well together.
Yesterday, Austin and I were talking about just some kind of in the weeds stuff. We're talking about by the time we get to busy season, anything he's working on is not going to affect that busy season, because it's always something that's aimed at making us better 6 months down the road. Where a lot of the times what I'm trying to work on is aimed at making us better either right now or in like 3 weeks. But that's usually about the extent of what my ability to look out is.
Some of it's further. I mean, there's a lot of marketing and media stuff that goes further, but a lot of it is more here and now type stuff.
Yeah, immediate. Okay. I don't think we have anything else other than Meat Matters. Do you have anything else you want to talk about?
Should I talk about the thing there now?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Okay.
For sure.
So for Bratfest, we have made most of the sausage so far. We have about 300 pounds left that we need to make. I neglected to buy meat for it until today.
I thought you kind of, not necessarily neglected, you kind of planned that. Okay. Happy accident.
Instead of buying all the meat at one time, I've bought the meat in like 3 different times.
Okay.
And part of it is because we used to be able to buy in bulk from a certain company, and now we can't.
Right.
And we can, but they want us to buy
It's insane.
an insane amount that, to be honest, we bought enough for Bratfest that we could have done it. But at the same time, I just wasn't going to mess with it. So I'm buying meat from other sources. So I go to a big meat retailer today. It wasn't one of our small processors. And I bought all of the 80/20 beef that they had. They only had 4 cases left, 291 pounds. And they were like, I told them at first, I was like, I want like around 300 pounds. And their first guy was like, oh yeah, we can probably do that. He goes in the back. Another guy comes out and he's like, yeah, I don't know if we can do that. He's like, what do you want? I'm like 80/20, ground chuck, and I want around 300 pounds. He's like, okay, we'll see what we can do. He comes back and is like, yeah, I think we can do it. And I'm like, okay, do you got a cart? He's like, no. I'm like, okay. The other times I bought meat, they've had carts. And so this time I had to go hunt down a flatbed cart, which was impossible. It was busy today. Finally find a cart, come back. There's 2 people waiting for me. A third lady that I'm assuming is the actual meat manager, whole manager of the whole department. And she's like, yeah, I haven't had anybody buy a case of 80/20 in like 3 to 5 years. I'm like, wow. She's like, so we can't sell you a case of it. And I'm like, but I want 300 pounds. She's like, well, we can price them individually. Is that price fine? And I'm like, I don't care. I'm like, you can charge me whatever you want. I want 300 pounds today. And so it was kind of annoying. They had to individually sticker every tube, and then I had to check out with every tube. And to sidetrack, I did not scan them properly at checkout because I was going to do their checkout, and it was like 6 people deep, but self-checkout was open. So I'm like, fine, I'll go through self-checkout. And I must have double scanned one, because when I got to the door and they scan you, they check what you have. The first one they scan, not on the order. And I'm like,
I swear I did.
I was like, I counted. There's 36 items here. On the receipt, there's 36 items there. They varied by like 10 cents a piece.
Right.
And the lady was like, there's too much to check. Just have a good day. I'm like, thank you.
Jeez.
So going back to the meat manager, bought all the 80/20 ground meat that they had. Couldn't buy it in a case, had to buy the individuals. And then she was like, and this is the last of the 80/20 that we're going to have. On Saturday, corporate is changing and not letting them buy 80/20 by the case anymore. Corporate's pushing 90/10. And so that is like mandated from corporate.
That's
like
so
you
ridiculous.
will do 90/10. And I laughed, and I'm like, you're going to have some serious blowback on that. And she's like, I know. She was not looking forward to it. So FYI, if you're going to a certain big box retailer that's a warehouse club, there's only 2 of them.
Right.
Take your pick. We've bought meat from both for Bratfest. We've bought meat all over the place for Bratfest, but not going to have 80/20 meat starting Saturday.
Is that just in the tubes, or is that in everything?
Well, I assume that they're just taking the tubes and they're converting it.
It's probably true.
That's what most of what they do there in their meat room is a conversion. It's not like they're making any product. They're just like taking a bulk thing and putting it into a smaller package. So I don't know for sure, but that's my assumption.
That's insane. So what do you think the thought process from corporate is?
I think my guess would be it's a push to kick fat out of people's diet. That's my guess.
That's a terrible idea.
Going to low fat and higher protein.
You know when low fat stuff started? It was like in the 60s and 70s. And if you go back and look at the average like body composition of an American from the 60s and brought them today, people would be like, "Oh my God, what do you do?" And that's just somebody who ate regularly, because there weren't all these low fat options that were loaded with sugar. Everything wasn't ultra processed.
Yeah.
It's sad, Austin. It makes me sad.
It's very disappointing because in my opinion, there's not a lot of things you can or should make out of 90/10. Like, even like, I don't know.
Jerky.
Even
If you want to make restructured jerky.
Yeah.
It'll work.
But even if I'm doing like burgers or something, or taco meat, or some of the like generic stuff like that,
Both of those,
I want like 85/15.
Yeah.
I don't want 90/10.
No.
90/10 is like, I am seriously trying to just eat protein only.
Right.
And for whatever reason, I don't want fat in something. But that's not everything.
No.
The go-to is, to me, 80/20, occasionally 85/15, and in the extreme scenario, 90/10. Maybe a 93/7 if that's all they've got. But
our doctor, I like being able to say that, the Walton family doctor, which I go to, is a big proponent of eating fat. He and I were talking about this. He's like, yeah, everybody thinks it's fat. And I was like, no, it's not. I bring this up all the time.
we might have to see if he would do a podcast with us sometime, because
wow.
he raises cattle.
Did I tell you? Yeah, I did. I think I did tell you this. So he sent me like a follow-up text about just a couple of things. And I responded saying, it was really nice to meet you today. I can't believe that I actually enjoyed talking to a doctor. It's not a sentence I thought I'd ever type. He responded, he's like, that would be great Google review. Would you mind putting that on there? I was like, heck yeah, I'll go do that right now.
It's awesome.
So yeah, hopefully he would. All right. We now have only 13 minutes left for Meat Matters.
You said this was going to be a short episode.
I said if we didn't get, I don't know why, I thought it might be short. All right, let's jump to the first story. It is from KSN. It's in Wichita, Kansas. And this summer's wheat harvest is finally coming to a close in Kansas after weeks of delays. And it's the smallest crop for the state since 1966. Farmers were up against weather-related challenges this year, Wheat needs a lot of moisture when it's planted in the fall and actively growing in the spring. However, in the summer, it needs to be dry for the harvesting. Now, I mean, that's not good news. 1966. That's absolutely insane. Now, I know we brought it up not a long time ago, but in like 2020, I was big at least in like, there's going to be food shortages. Buy emergency food. I hope everybody kept on to theirs is all I'll say about that. But it says many acres of wheat in Kansas were just abandoned this year before we even got to May 1st. That's from Aaron Harries, Kansas Wheat Commission Vice President of Research and Operation. I'm assuming farmers can claim that on crop insurance.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
That's why they abandon it, because they are submitting an insurance claim against it, which I believe is actually government insurance.
I don't know how that works.
I might be wrong. I don't think it's private. I think it's all government funded. Might be wrong. But good news of all this is that earlier in the year, I was seeing reports that, abandoned crops on wheat could reach like 25% or more. So the fact that it's only 15, kind of good. But in a normal year, it's only 5. So this got me to thinking like, all right, bread could get more expensive. Like what else is going to happen? So I started doing like some research in it. I found articles from 2022, 2021, 2020, 2018, 2015 that were all saying like, the end of the world is coming. The wheat harvest was terrible. Now I don't know I don't know if this is a big deal or not. I'm wondering if it's just not even going to be a blip in the radar. Is it? I don't know. Is the wheat harvest bad here, but it's better
other places?
In other places, and it makes up for it. Although like when the whole Ukraine conflict started,
it's the breadbasket of Europe.
Yeah,
they're all going to starve.
That was all I heard about. So is that? And I've also heard some news stories that like Russia was like letting stuff go through, and then they're like, nope, not doing it anymore. So I wonder if that's going to have any play. I don't know. But then along with wheat, I didn't actually do any other research until like 2 minutes ago on corn. But a lot of the corn that I had been looking at has not looked good this year. Western Kansas has looked sad. Some of the stuff in the center of the state and a little east has looked decent, but some of it has looked just horrid. So I just looked up like corn crop projections, and USDA is actually projecting that it will be 10% above what was a year ago. And if that's realized, that'll be the second highest on record. So corn looks okay, which is weird because you'd think that corn is harder to grow than wheat, but maybe that's just a perception I have and I'm wrong about that. But.
Yeah, I think it's the conditions for wheat have to be more like specific. Like corn, if it rains and or you get sunshine, probably going to be good as long as there's not like hail knocking the flat. With wheat, you need lots of early rain, but then you need it to be really dry.
Yeah.
You never watched Clarkson's Farm? It's on Amazon Prime. It's Jeremy Clarkson. He's a guy who's famous in Britain for Top Gear. Very, very funny guy.
Yeah, I know who it is, but I've never seen the show.
So his farm series is fascinating. It really gives you kind of an interesting look behind like what farmers all go through. So anyways, cool. What about soybeans? Did you look that up too? Like you said,
yeah, I didn't look up anything about soybeans, but soybean crops all around the Wichita area here, they look great.
Yeah. That's interesting though, because I even said to you that a lot of the corn up in Minnesota when I was driving looked terrible, like very, very small and like scraggly.
It's interesting. Is it designed to be shorter up there?
Could be.
Is that some of it maybe?
Just a different thing. All right. Tyson closes 4 more processing facilities. So we have 2 stories on this back to back. I'm assuming it doesn't matter which one we discuss. Okay. So from Springdale, Arkansas, Tyson Food Inc. announced in its third quarter earnings release on August 7th that it would close 4 additional U.S. poultry plants. The company said it would close chicken facilities in North Little Rock, Arkansas, Corydon, Indiana, Dexter, Missouri, and Knoll, Missouri. In a statement, Donnie King, president and chief executive of Tyson, said the difficult decision demonstrates the company's commitment to bold action and operational excellence as the company drives performance, including lower costs and improving capacity utilization. So these, I guess, are just extraneous plants that they felt like they could take on that volume at other places. And that's what I'm getting from that. Tyson said workers at the plant would see no change in benefits and would be paid for any earned but unused vacation. So just generally what you do when you close. We gave Tyson some credit last month for helping out in Vermont, but they don't deserve credit for that. That's just what you do. Additionally, the company said it would pay a retention bonus of $1,000 to any hourly employee who stays on through the plant closing date. Again, because I imagine the vast majority of them are like, all right, well, bye.
Yeah, they're going to find a new job as quick as they can.
$1,000 does not go that far.
Yeah, but on the other hand, if I had that dangling in front of me, I'd do what I can to stick it out. $1,000, still $1,000.
But it's not. It's $400. You're going to get taxed at 60% on that. It's a bonus.
Well, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, yes, the government's going to withhold a good chunk of it, but
Still.
when your taxes are done, it technically does not get taxed at a higher percentage. They withhold more. You don't actually get taxed at a higher percentage. So I don't like the withholding rules, but it is what it is.
All right, moving on. Next story. Try and buzz through a few of these. Down 140%, or 146%, sorry. Beef packer margins have hit their lowest point in 5 years. Last week, processors lost an average of about $102 per head compared to about $82 a head the week before. Wholesale beef prices were down about $1. Feedlot margins, on the other hand, have skyrocketed. That is according to the Daily Livestock Report and Sterling Beef Profit Tracker. This is gloom and doom, couple of stories here in a row.
You didn't listen to last week's podcast, did you?
I did not.
Ah, yeah.
Did you guys talk about this?
Oh, yeah.
Exact thing? Oh,
well,
okay.
no. So these numbers, like, they update every week. So they're not the same, but they're similar to what we were talking about last week, which I have some additional information on too.
Okay. Just real quick on this. Like, it feels like somebody has to be getting the shaft all the time in the ranchers, packers, and retailers. Like, somebody's always can they not just work together?
They do. So this is why last week I was like, there has to be more to this story that I'm not getting, because it wouldn't make sense for processors to continue to process if they're losing $100 per head.
Right.
In theory, what is happening there is this is all like contract work. These are packers working with ranchers and saying, hey, we're going to buy this, we will process this at this time and at this price. Right. And so it's all speculative from the past as to what is now. And so when they whatever they're processing now, when it was first contracted, they looked at and they're like, this will be great. And then when it gets to this time, the numbers don't all line up. So sometimes they make a ton of money. Other times they don't make money or they lose money. When you look at the whole gamut of things, they're just fine. So I can't use any actual names and explain anything here, but I don't know if you were part of this conversation.
I know.
Okay. Yeah. Know somebody that got to see a P&L statement from a certain large packer and what they were making, and the numbers are insane. It's nuts what people were making before some of this started. Now they're not making as much, but they were making record profits in the very recent past. And so it all evens itself out, but it's all because of it. Most of it is like contract based. So sometimes they kill it and they make a huge margin, and other times they don't. But in a perfect world, it evens out and they meet somewhere in the middle.
We don't have time to get into it. Is it because it's a commodity?
Yeah.
So it's like okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. How many pounds of meat to expect from a beef animal? I bring this up because I was laughing at the headline as a beef animal, but the source of it is drovers. So I assume that a beef animal is actually just a term in the industry that I'm unfamiliar with. So I'm the idiot, not them. So hot carcass weight is the weight of an animal after it's been slaughtered, gutted, and is hanging. What you do is you take the hot carcass weight and then you divide that by the live weight of the animal, and then you multiply that by 100. Another way to do it would just say you get about 63% of the carcass weight. So once it's hanging, about 63% of that is coming home with you. The rest is bone, connective tissue, and other inedible things. So, okay. Woman under investigation after poisonous mushrooms in a meal killed her 3 former in-laws. I found that pretty funny. This is down in Australia.
3 former in-laws? Are they former because they were
they're
killed,
dead,
or former because she was?
Oh no, it was already
no
her ex-husband and his. Yeah, so they were already former in-laws.
This sounds mischievous.
She sat down to eat the same meal with them. She had no ill effects of it.
Yeah,
so
that sounds sketchy.
I think she killed them. It's a good reminder, though. If you don't know what you're doing, do not pick wild mushrooms and eat them. Like can be super deadly. Public health alert for raw beef sold at Aldi's. Story has been making the rounds a ton recently. We're not going to touch on it much other than to say there was no official recall on it because none of the product was left on the shelves for sale. So it's just like an alert. And it's a clear plastic, that foreign material that was in there with them. So you might not even see it. There's lots of people eating plastic.
They still have to issue a recall.
They said there was no, while a recall was never issued since the product is no longer available to be purchased at Aldi stores, FSIS said that the alert was issued to make sure the public was aware of the potentially contaminated product and not to consume it. So after it's already off the shelves, they do not do not do a recall for it.
That makes no sense.
That's what I thought too.
I don't understand that.
All right. Steakhouse brags about a $69 vegan steak. That first of all, it's not. It won't be delicious, and it's not steak. Second of all, though, $69. This is at the steakhouse. The cost of it. That's not terrible. But Florida steakhouse chain brags it is the first in the U.S. to serve a plant-based steak. Charlie's Steakhouse in Orlando is selling the letter F, the letter U, filet mignon for $69. It's in the mid-range of the chain's meat prices. Freaking unbelievable, which is what the F and the U stand for, plant-based by Chunk, reads the simple description on the online menu. Chunk Foods is an Israeli food tech startup aiming to make delicious, nutritious, plant-based whole cut that are kind to the environment and accessible to all. It's partially funded by Robert Downey Jr. A former drug addict. Yes, good one, Patrick. Long-awaited regulations on pork sale to take effect this month. So this is months and months and months ago. We talked about all the changes that were coming to Massachusetts. There have been lawsuits tying that all up. That is mostly over at this point, and they are going forward with that. It's basically saying that any animals. The compromise is that this is only going to apply to animals that were raised in Massachusetts, but they have to have a certain amount of like square footage to like just themselves. I assume like a personal masseuse, some other really bougie stuff, but animals that were slaughtered in other areas of the state can still come through Massachusetts. I wish they didn't do that. I wish they were like, no, it's everything, so that Massachusetts can then realize that, oh, you're not going to get any meat. And the meat that you do have that's all raised in state is going to become insanely expensive.
Yeah. So was that, we might have talked something similar on this last week too. I don't remember, about California and their
We've talked
stuff.
about it in the past. I don't think it was the last time I was on.
Okay. I think it was last week then, but stuff has been happening there.
Okay.
And like some of the pork producers are now, they've already spent money on like making changes. And so they're like, yeah, we want this to happen. But there's others that are like, nah, we still don't want this. And so there's like this internal squabbling amongst people, and there's some lawsuits, and we're going to see what happens. But it's all still pending, but we'll see. It sounds promising that they're going to stop California from actually enacting the legislations off of the against the pork industry and how pigs are raised. But
how upset would you be if you were if you were a pig farmer in California, and as soon as that came out, you're like, okay, this is where it's going. Let's tear down the barns, rebuild everything so that they have the right, we are up to code. And then years and years and years go by, and eventually we get nothing from it. We get absolutely no changes. You'd be furious.
Yeah.
I'd be furious, at least.
I'd be furious.
Okay. Last two things. First, do you want to end on the shark attack? Or do you want to end on the gimmick?
I didn't even read to the bottom of things. So
of the shark attack? No, the gimmick is what we talked about right before. Let's do the gimmick first.
Now I don't remember what the
Let's
gimmick
do a
is.
quick draft of best diet sodas.
Okay. Who's going first?
You can go first.
Okay. Diet Mountain Dew.
Diet
Okay.
Canada.
Wait, hold on. We're done.
No,
That's the best one. There's no other diet soda drink.
I got to mark it off my big board.
Diet Canada Dry Ginger Ale, 100% the best.
Oh, man, I was going to steal that one.
100% the best.
I'm actually okay with that. That's a good one.
Okay.
Diet Pepsi.
What a fumble!
Out of
he
all,
blew his first round pick.
You guys
It's
don't
the
even,
worst
you
of
guys don't
all
even
the
drink-
diet sodas.
No, you guys don't even drink pop.
That wouldn't have been in my top 10.
oh, I drank a ton of pop.
That wouldn't have been in my top 10.
You drink diet,
All right.
weirdo, pop.
Do I
green.
get to go again, or are we
we're-
snaking?
Yep. No. Go round and round.
Okay. Who? I didn't think I'd get go. I thought Patrick would go too, and we'd snake again. So now I don't know. We're gonna go with Diet Orange Sunkist.
That's not a bad one. I'm going to go more traditional. I'm going to take Diet Coke.
You just gave him crap for Diet Pepsi.
Diet Coke is way better than Diet
I'll
Pepsi.
go.
They both suck.
No.
But first of all, what's good about this game is like both your opinions are wrong, so I don't even need to care about any of it. Diet Dr. Pepper,
That's
number
not a
2.
bad
Uh-huh, okay.
bad one.
Yep.
Almost our thing is pulling from the rest of the diet drinks. What do we even have?
Diet 7-Up.
Don't like Diet 7-Up. Can't like it. I've tried it a bunch. I want to like it. I don't like it. Diet A&W root beer.
No, I was debating between Diet 7-Up and that one.
Oh.
Dang it.
Diet Sprite.
Sprite is only good for one thing, and it makes me like throw up.
What is it?
Sprite.
Sprite makes you throw up?
Yeah, but just throw up like
Good for
Sprite
one
bubbles.
thing, baby, vomit.
Like I drink Sprite, and I will instantly regurgitate it all as foam. It's
Cut that scene of
creepy.
Danny DeVito doing that on It's Always Sunny right here, Justin.
No, we have to see this. I need to see this happen.
Okay.
Sprite bubble.
All right. We have to have Sprite for the next time. Like, it will actually come out or just like up into your mouth and then you swallow that.
Well, it depends. It go either way. It's going to come out of my mouth. I'm either going to spit it out or swallow it. There's only two options.
Okay. That's interesting.
All right, so what's your fifth? This one's tough.
We're running out of sodas, man.
Yeah.
Just think of colors. And maybe that.
Mine might be.
I'd probably say Diet Cream Soda.
Is that what you were going to do?
That was mine. I was very excited for it too. I was Would you
You
have
were-
taken Diet root beer?
Over that.
You're
Like you were already
Yes.
thinking of it. Okay.
You're going to take root beer and cream soda?
Uh-huh.
It's sick.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then I'm going to go real controversial and I'm going to say Ghost energy drink. It's diet,
I don't know about that.
even though I can't have them
Not
anymore.
labeled
And
as
with
diet.
the steal of the draft, I'm going to draft water. All right, baby.
All right. Last story of the day to pick back up on our tradition of ending with a shark story. Rockaway Beach shark attack. Officials ramp up ocean surveillance after woman bit by sharks.
Multiple?
So when I read this
With an
initially,
S.
Rockaway Beach is not a place you would assume there'd be shark attacks. Like it's very urban. Like It's not a far out on Long Island. It's right there by the city almost. And this just wasn't like a lady got bit. Like a lot of the ones in Florida, it's like, you know, you can see the shark attack. Like there's like 4 lines on the person's skin. And yeah, they might need like a couple of stitches, but it's not bad. This lady lost 20 pounds of flesh.
How's she alive?
Right?
That's crazy.
From where?
I don't know where it bit her. There's no pictures.
It's got to be like thigh or buttock. Like what's a 20-pound fleshy area that you can stand to not have?
No, I don't. They're like maybe.
Well, I'm saying it couldn't be stomach. There's a lot of important stuff in there.
Maybe like the side of the stomach? Because it can't be your. Well, you said important. What do you mean by important?
Well,
Because you
like,
can get your hamstring bit off and live.
For sure. And there's
I don't
probably
know about
like
that because you're going to get your whatever artery thing going down there.
I've seen pictures of people being carried off the beach
they just
with like no
shut.
hamstring. It's all gone.
I don't know.
And they survive.
What's the war movie?
Like
I've seen Black Hawk Down, and the dude he dies because his his artery thing
gets
in
his
leg
femoral
was cut.
artery, and then they can't get in there for like
and you got to think
a day
she's
close it down.
Swimming, it's more. That's definitely submerged. I don't. My best guess would be thigh buttock area.
The salt water kept it real clean, so it was that probably stung. He probably didn't even feel
that part doesn't hurt.
What's he getting infected by? This just any gross thing in the water? The shark's mouth itself?
I don't know.
Is it like it's a lot of medical? Yeah, we do need a doctor on here. We need a wish list of questions.
20 pounds of flesh. That's when I read that. I was like, oh no, we're talking about this today.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, I wonder what my arm weighs. I think my arm weighs 20 pounds.
Well, what do you weigh?
Dude, can we talk about what you weigh?
Well, let's start with what he weighs, and then we'll give weights to his torso, his arms, his head, his legs.
212 pounds.
Okay.
What's your? Never mind. I'll just leave it.
Well,
so you got
you're all torso, dude. What do you?
All right. So I'm just gonna put my forearm from my forearm to my elbow. And I'm just gonna rest it.
Yeah, this is accurate. They would use this for
right.
What is it? 23.
Oh wow.
23?
No, not even close.
16.
8.
Man with the 8.
It's okay. Let me see if maybe I'm resting too much.
I love how you closed your eyes like it was.
Actually, I put more weight on it and it's only 9.8.
Austin, put some normal man
Go ahead,
arms
put
on there,
an arm up there.
Double that, huh?
He's pressing down. I'm watching.
I'm so much stronger than you.
Put it on. Just
back in the day, it'd be like 24-inch pythons. Now it's like 8-inch biceps.
I'm trying to figure out like
where the right amount, like what is just your arm, not your shoulder.
Why
right?
is it when you rest your arm, you guys like go to a model face like your Zoolander? You go. Yeah, I'm one with it, and here we go.
So I just pulling numbers out of thin air. I'm saying
feels like I'm putting
30,
on now.
30 pounds a leg, so we're at 60. 10 pounds an arm, so 70, 80. Nice. 100 pounds for your center, you're at 180.
Your center.
And then you got like 10 for your head and 10 for leftover wherever.
Well, Jonathan Lipnicki
said
200. The human head weighs 8 pounds, according to Jonathan Lipnicki in the movie Jerry Maguire. So
what's my head weight?
7, 8, 8.5.
It's 8 pounds.
8.5, 9, 8.8.
It's 8 pounds.
Okay. That makes sense.
This homework's been done for us before by the little vampire.
Perfectly average brain size. All right, thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for checking out the Meatgistics podcast. To shop everything but the meat, head on over to waltons.com. To get your meat processing questions answered by experts and enthusiasts alike, head on over to our online community at meatgistics.com. Waltons, everything but the meat.